programs that I run for businesses, and particularly in professional services, is how to be trustworthy and how to help and how to trust and how to go first and how to risk yourself in order to provoke trust from someone else. So the levers that we've got to create trust are actually much bigger than just time. And the earlier that we can create trust, the closer we will get to those unspokens that will actually determine our own success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that applies to money and the sort of stuff that we've been talking about, but it applies to people in their career, workplace, other relationships as well. Tell us a bit about what some of those levers are and how I feel like I'm getting a bit of a coaching session here, but tell us about what some of those levers are and what people should be thinking about there.
Well, they are very learnable, but you need to understand them, particularly within the context of who you are. So again, in the workshops that I run, part of what I'm trying to do is help people understand what their natural instincts are. And, and again, this does come back to fear. So if you are somebody who has quite a high level of protection around themselves because you don't want to show up as vulnerable or you don't want to get hurt, then if that's your front running operating system, then that's what you're putting out. So anytime that you are being approached or you are wanting to approach or you are wanting to risk, which is what trust is, then you need to understand what your operating system is. Some people go into an avoidant space, which is, and again, classically for fear related stuff, we're talking about avoidance or attacking, that, arcing up or running away. So, when we were on the savannas being kind of chased by saber-toothed tigers, we had two options: fight or flee. And our internal operating systems now are not that different. So if there is a risk in front of us, what is your default kind of impulse? Do you tend to avoid and move back and retreat and protect yourself that way? Or do you tend to defend and attack and armor up and you protect yourself that way? So the work that I do is really trying to help people understand what are your defaults, and then what are your ways around that? Are there advantages to that? There will be. Are there disadvantages? And how does it impact the kind of relationships that you can build? So because we know that, for example, if I took a risk right now and told you something that was, something about something that was hidden about me, something that was revealing, I know that would instantly get you to do the same, because you would suddenly be able to drop some of your barriers because and if we look at dogs, when dogs meet in the park, very quickly one of them will sort of, they might arrive with their heckles up, but then one of them will do something which shows, I can be vulnerable here. I'm going to show you my tummy or whatever. And it sort of instantly releases that oxytocin in the other dog, and everybody's kind of happy. And same for humans. We need to see that we are safe in some way so that we don't resort into our default patterns of attack or avoid. So I think understanding yourself and your patterns is one of the really clear things that we can do. And again, notice, well, why do I attack and defend and armor up in that circumstance, and in that circumstance I just put my hands up and kind of walk away? What are the differences between those scenarios or people that are in front of me?
Yeah, and how does that then factor into building trust? Or is it just, like you say, just understanding and finding a way to show trust first?
So that is really the mainstay of what trust is. So trust is really the ability that the other person can rely on who you are, that what you're doing or saying is what you're going to do, that what you are showing is credible, that you have got some sort of context behind you, and this thing called intimacy, this thing called relatability, that if I think that you are not going to judge me, not going to blame me, not going to use what I'm about to say against me, then I can open up and be safe. So being in a situation where you want to build trust requires that you go first. And when they don't respond to you going first with risking whatever that piece of information or humanness is, if you're not prepared to do that, or they do it and you act in either an approach or an avoidance way, then we are just animals, and we will be bouncing off each other, reading those non-verbal signs, and something will look shifty if we don't think that what's being presented to us is the whole picture. If I don't get a sense of who you are, because all I see is your armor or your protection, why on earth would I want to think of you as somebody that I can trust?